Welcome back to my three-part series exploring Maslow's hierarchy and how that applies to reaching the natural state of extraordinary health. Last time we covered the idea of there being a life of probability and a life of possibility. At the most basic level, we in America generally have our foundational survival needs of a brain and nervous system working, air, water, food, and shelter. But even the most affluent of us are struggling with getting good sleep, although it is a fundamental need. Next, I want to cover the second level, which is security in society. Wait, Social Security? No. He's not talking about the government stipend that starts at age 65. He means the feeling of being safe, connected, and supported in your community. Can I just remind you that newspapers are there to report rare or risky events, which means something that almost never happens, because whatever is common is not interesting. We need to use our ability to be reasonable, rational, having those kinds of minds to remember this, but instead we often use our creative abilities to think of the worst case scenario. When we are bombarded with TV, movies, and other people's disasters and extremes, we start thinking that these are normal. Genetically, we were designed to be in smaller communities, making shorter range plans, so life was less complex. This was not about happiness, it was about the next step up from survival. We use our rational mind by creating models to which we can apply reasoning. If our models are based on rare events, but we apply them as though they are normal, common events, we get ourselves into trouble. For example, smoking. It was considered normal when everyone did it, so we reasoned it must be okay, until we looked closer, and then many reasoned that it was not healthy. We have all kinds of models that we apply reasoning to that may actually be faulty models, continually reinforced by media and other sources of information like our family and friends, politicians, preachers, and teachers. Information or data can fall into a model and be interpreted differently than it would if it was placed in a different model or paradigm. Here's an example. Germs. If germs are placed in a model that says that they are the cause of disease, then we can not only find all kinds of proof, but we will rationally design all kinds of ways to kill them off, thinking we are protecting ourselves. Now we realize that these same bugs may actually be essential for our survival and required for robust health, like the biodiversity needed in our guts to be healthy and resilient. To make this shift, we use information and data that is filtered through our creativity to a new model, and then apply reasoning to that model. Our fear of germs has led to a culture that is so hygienic that we have lost our ability to adapt to a wide diversity of bugs, actually making us more vulnerable to our environment instead. If we live in fear of germs, then we will not feel secure in our world. We can overcome fears and primal urges by using our prefrontal cortex, the most evolved part of our brains and the part that is unique to humans. Watch. Just look closely at the difference between feeling secure and being secure. When we watch the news and hear about violence on the other side of the planet, besides feeling compassion for those victims, we also may feel threatened ourselves, even though we are sitting safe and secure in our own homes at that moment. This is what I mean by the difference between feeling secure and being secure. I believe it was both Mark Twain and Marcus Aurelius who both have been attributed for these wise words. My life has been filled with troubles, most of which never happened. I'm sure if they were alive today, they would tell you to do just what John Prine would do and blow up your TV, throw away your papers. In the end, the goal is to integrate our feelings and reality. Byron Katie, in her book Loving What Is, gives us 4 questions we can ask ourselves that engages our prefrontal cortex and leads us to examine our perceived feelings and the reality of how we are actually just sitting there being with no actual threat occurring. I have found EFT, or emotional freedom technique, equally valuable in turning the worry stress switch off and the present time secure switch on. Check out the workshop I recorded to learn the best ways I know to use EFT. You can find it on my website in the video library. There's a wonderful book I found many years ago written by a great chiropractor, Dr. Fred Barge. It's called Life Without Fear. In it, he talks about how the body is designed to be healthy and that we can always rely on this as long as we are following the laws of nature, which are the laws of health. When we look around us, we are seeing chronic illness on the rise, and many people live in fear that they will inevitably be doomed to getting sick and that there's nothing they can do about it. Dr. Barge's message comes from a life dedicated to teaching people the importance of having a healthy nervous system if you want to be healthy. We can only rely on our bodies to be healthy if we are living in alignment with the laws of nature. That comes down to respecting 4 things: how we eat, how we move, how we think, and the integrity of our nervous system. So who do you have on your healthcare team who is watching your spine and nervous system to be sure it is clear and all the messages are traveling from the brain to the body and back again without interference? When was the last time you had it checked to be sure it was clear? Look, if the body was designed to be healthy, then why do people get sick? Well, let's get clear. There are only 2 things that get in the way of the body expressing its natural state of extraordinary health: toxins and deficiencies. Not just chemicals, but physical and mental and emotional stresses as well. So if we can discover what those are and reconcile them, we can expect to return to health. If you aren't experiencing the level of health that you want, or if you are living in fear of getting sick, you just have to look at what toxins, traumas, or thoughts are responsible and reconcile them. If we are talking about how you eat, look for any toxins, and there are plenty of those these days, or nutritional deficiencies, and clear out the toxins or get the nutrients in. If we're talking about how you move, toxic movement means accidents or injuries, yes, but more commonly it's poor posture. Sit up, poor work ergonomics, or not lifting properly, or being the weekend warrior. And deficiencies, well, you know what I mean there: couch potato, sedentary lifestyles, sitting is the new smoking, and screens are the new crack cocaine. If we are talking about how you think, well, you know that self-talk that is either filled with toxic ideas or not enough positive thinking and gratitude. Now, we mustn't forget our nervous system. If we have vertebral misalignments or subluxations, they can be sending noxious or toxic stress signaling to the brain or creating interferences and altered nerve supply to our organs and muscles so they don't work right. If we can actually measure all of these things, then we have a great way to assure ourselves that we are on the way toward the natural state of extraordinary health and banish the fears that lead to insecurities around our health. Mike Dooley, I love this guy, he says, "Insecurity is the greatest social piranha in the pool of human existence." I love that. Next time, we will unpack the last 3 levels of Maslow's hierarchy, and I will share how to focus your energy so you can be moving toward the natural state of extraordinary health. We'll see you then.